What is good, everyone? Chris with Journals, Comics, and Pop Culture here, doing a live stream, middle of the week live stream. Happy Wednesday to everyone. This topic of discussion tonight came up after I dropped my video today. And I was reading through all the comments on that video, and there was a lot of stuff being said that made me have to come here and do a live stream. So, as always, if you are watching on the replay, we're going to take a few minutes to let some folks get in here live before we actually start the discussion. And in order to talk about some important things before we do, and to fill those minutes up, few updates of what's going on my channel. As always, we have Comic Book Canon this coming Sunday. We had an awesome show last week with Danny Girl Comics. We don't have a special guest scheduled right now at the moment, but we're hoping to get one slotted in. I am still planning to do a Friday night live show. This Friday is per usual. Let's see what else is going on right now. I do not have any WhatNot shows scheduled. I am planning on doing a major YouTube claim sale. It's going to be my first ever claim sale. I'm a bit nervous about it, but I did a poll. A lot of you said that that's where you wanted the next sale to be, next to maybe WhatNot or Instagram, et cetera, et cetera. So look out for more updates for that. That's still going to be at least 2 or 3, some weeks out. Probably most definitely not until November. I think it's going to be primarily a Batman-themed sale, but I'll sprinkle some other stuff in as well. Common News Network, what is going on? So, again, we're going to get into this topic of discussion about the Peach Momoko New York Comic-Con controversy. I released a video today. You guys have not watched that yet. I highly recommend you going and checking it out. I read the Bleeding Cool article that was written, and then, of course, I presented my own feelings towards it and what we can do to move from this. I've been reading through the comments all day long, and some things weren't sitting right, so I had to come here and do a live stream to address this. Oh man, Hal, what's going on? Martin, what's up? WhatNot is not for sellers? I'm not too sure what you mean by that. But again, we're taking a few minutes to let some more folks get in before we get started with the topic of discussion tonight. I do want to remind folks, big shout out to all my Patreon members of the channel. We got October's giveaway that I will be running at the end of the month. We got a Arthur Adams Eternals #1 awesome variant, as well as Dark Ages #1, and then nice little spec book that's definitely cooled off. West Coast Avengers 62, first appearance of the Timekeepers, but nice little 3-book lot that will be going to some awesome Patreon member when we do the randomizer at the end of the month. And then, of course, to all my YouTube channel members, end of month giveaway, we got this Walmart exclusive, the 3-book Walmart pack with, we got a Thor #1 variant right here. That Mountaineer, what's going on? Johnny, what's up? That's going to be announced at the end of the month. We'll run all of the YouTube channel members in a randomizer, and we'll be giving that away. Brandon, what's going on, Brandon? And then, man, this is just a beauty. End of year Patreon giveaway right here. This Venom #29. This is the Origin of Codex. It is a Scorpion Comics exclusive. Gabriel Delato. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful cover. That is just, I will be giving this away to one lucky Patreon member at the end of the year. I keep looking at it and I want to keep it. I don't have an extra copy, but it is not mine to keep. This will be going home to a new home, and I cannot wait for that. So those are the giveaways that are coming up on the channel. Again, folks, Roberto, what's going on? We are here and we're going to discuss this Peach Momoko New York Comic-Con issue, but we're not just going to talk about the incident itself. We're going to dive into the comment section of my video that I released earlier today. Coffee and a Comic, what's going on? I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm a little concerned with some of the comments that I'm reading. I am gonna bring it up here. Just give me a moment. Uno momento. Let's see here. No, we want to get out of this. Let's see. Again, we are going to highlight some of these comments, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to add context, because really what's going on with this video that I uploaded today is so similar to what happened when I made my first video about the C2E2 stuff. When the first ever, like, whispers were coming out when the C2E2 drama hit, and I came out and I did that live stream saying, pump the brakes, pump the brakes. And then I got all this backlash. We all know what road that went down. Well, many of us do. Maybe some of you don't. But I'm going to share my screen here. Share screen. We're going to bring this comment section up. All right, we got. There we go. And Simon, what's up, Simon? Thanks for coming in and hanging out. Wasn't planning on doing a live stream tonight, but like I said, after reading the comment sections of my video today, I couldn't help myself. I had to talk about this. Here we go. All right, folks. Oh, we got a lot of live shows going on. I appreciate y'all being here with me right now. But very important stuff. So again, let's rehash it briefly, because I don't want to spend too much time talking about this. You guys can go watch my video. You can read the articles. This last weekend in New York Comic Con, Peach Momoko set up and was doing free signings. Free signings, 10 per customer, per individual. You just had to stand in line. You bring up 10 books. But also, she was allowing you to get back in line with 10 new books and stand in line all over again. So some arguments started happening. So there was an altercation of some sort. People were getting hyphy in the line, and it got to a point where people were kind of getting in her face, and she had to shut it down. She released a public statement apologizing to her fans. And I talked about it in this video today, saying, I read the Bleeding Cool article, right? And they basically shared a couple of tweets by some people that were there, some people that were close to Peach, and said what I saw was just unbelievable. Greed is whatever. It's getting in the way of the hobby that we love, et cetera, et cetera. And they also stated that, and again, this is according to Bleeding Cool. Now, look, Bleeding Cool, I don't sit there and I'm not going to call them a credible source at all. They presented it as if there were exhibitors that were obviously getting like short boxes of books, pulling 10 out, standing in line, and then getting back in line, grabbing 10 more, getting back in line, and doing it again. This altercation stuff happened, I believe, before 10 a.m. So really short time that this all transpired. And they said that exhibitors with the exhibitor badges were kind of in the tussle of everything that was going on. So one thing that I said in the video today was, I don't have all the details. The bottom line is greed, right? Just greedy people acting unethical, and this is what happens. But I said I wouldn't be surprised if there were certain people that have the exhibitor badges that kept getting back in line, and maybe people that weren't having exhibitor badges that were just standing in the lines were kind of getting upset at them, and that kind of thwarted the perception of what was going on, kind of changed the energy and the dynamic. I don't know. But what I said was, we need to learn from this moving forward, and how do we fix this? Well, 10 is too much. You don't give 10. You limit it to like 2 or 3. And there's no way are you going to let people get back in line. Absolutely not. And that's what I said. Right? But for some reason, and I'm not, if any of you, if I share any of your comments, please don't take this as me trying to beat you up or point a finger at you or anything like that. I want all of us to learn from this, okay? Let me get some water. I have a headache, guys. I'm still doing this today for you guys because I feel like this is very important. But take this as constructive criticism and let's grow from this. Now, remember, I'm going to keep going back to what happened with C2E2 and my involvement in that. But let's just pull up some of these comments, folks. Nicholas, what's going on? Eyewitness, what's up? Let's pull some up. Bear with me because I want to find some specific ones. Some specific ones here. All right, so Commotion said, you are so right on 3 copies. 10 copies is just inviting resellers to take advantage. And fair point. But I said it invites anyone to take advantage, and I'll get back to that. But that wasn't really one of the comments I wanted to highlight. There are more here that are much more important to what I'm trying to say. And I probably should, there's a lot of comments on here already. I probably should have took screenshots, but we are definitely going to get to them. Hold tight, guys. Hold tight. All right, here's one right here. J Double again. J Double, if you're watching this, you know, no disrespect. Let's talk about this. Jay says, I can imagine. Crazy. Let the fans have a moment, greedy people. They are the ones who make these influencers monies. And yet another example of how little they care about the consumer in favor of their greed. So while I agree with them about people being greedy and the bad apples spoil it for everyone else, I say here respectfully, nobody said anything about influencers. So you guys see where this is going already. And this was another one that wasn't even, let's look at this one. I wonder if Comic Tom and Gem Mint were involved. You see where this is going. Now, I didn't get to reply to that yet. I don't know, but you guys see where this is going. All right, here's one right here. Invite says, don't worry, eBay Live is going to knock these WhatNot / YouTube grifters out of the scene. This is what I said. Respectfully. Nowhere in this video or in the article that I read did it say anything about WhatNot or YouTubers. Nowhere. Double S was going on. So, guys, look. I mean, I can keep reading these comments, but you guys get the gist right there. That comment right there. Don't worry. These WhatNot, and influencers and YouTubers. If you read the Bleeding Cool article or talk to anybody that was there, nobody said anything about WhatNot, for one, let alone YouTube, influencers, et cetera, Reseller, fine, because exhibitors, a lot of them are there, they're vendors, so I understand that we're looking at it like, oh man, greed. People are trying to get their books, get their 10 copies, go back and then send them off to their booth, maybe for them to sell them. But here's my thing. I'm going to make this clear before I dive into the WhatNot and YouTuber stuff. I don't care who you are. Even if you're I'm a fan of Peach. I am. If I was there and she was allowing me to get 10 books signed, I'd get 10 books signed and I'd take one, I'd frame it and I'd hang it on my wall. I'd probably keep a couple more and I'd probably give away a couple on my channel. I'd go sell a couple too and try to make some money. I would. Why not? I have no need for 10 Peach Momoko signatures. I have no need. As a collector, I have no need. You can't sit and tell me that your average person that went to Comic-Con, paid for a ticket at the door, and walked in without any type of badge, without VIP, without exhibitor badges, wasn't sitting in that line with 10 books, hoping to at least flip a couple of those books. I can guarantee you the majority of them were. But yet here we are again. Now, again, if you watched my video, this is why people are so freely saying these things in the comment section of my video. Because partially I'm aligning with what they agree with. The greed, right? The greed. And absolutely, people are trying to take advantage of Peach doing something for the community for free. And people, there's, 10 comics. Oh, I can get back in line. Oh, here's my opportunity. I'm going to flip. Instead of saying, well, I'm going to take my 10 up and then I'm going to go do me. And I'm going to let someone else get in line and get theirs. 10 is already in abundance. But this is why, look, this is why at cons there's accountability to where we need to grow and evolve, because we got to stop opening the door for these things to happen. Don't let people get back in line. Should have never happened. But the greed is there, and I agree that this greed, it's not just comic books. It's our culture, folks. It's our culture. It's as American as apple pie. It's very Western, but it's all over the world, especially in this day and age. Greed, plain and simple, right? Matt says, WhatNot had a huge presence at NYCC. And a lot of people had a huge presence at NYCC. Were you there? Did anybody from WhatNot cause this problem? Did somebody there with a WhatNot badge cause this problem? So now look, I don't know. Well, actually, I kind of do know now. But at the time I made that video, I didn't know. I don't know who got in a scuffle. I don't know who was arguing. It could have been anybody. It could have been a grandma. But yet, what do people do? Let's pick up the pitchforks. WhatNot, influencers, YouTubers. This was the same problem with C2E2. As soon as somebody said, somebody cut a line at C2E2, who did they blame? The most popular YouTubers and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not saying that once the truth comes out that we can't hold people accountable, and that, yes, there are resellers involved. There's people that sell on WhatNot involved. Sure, there might be some YouTubers involved. But folks, you got to pump the brakes, step back, and stop being reactionary and reacting on emotion and picking up pitchforks and finger pointing before you know any facts. Empire, what's going on? At 360, exactly. Now, look, I have my own issues with WhatNot as a business entity, and sure, but when it comes to individuals, right, I mean, you know, Matt, there's no reason to get cynical. There's no reason. Where's your Matt, were you there at NYCC, and did anybody involved in WhatNot have anything to do with the Momoko line tussle? Simple question. And I'm not trying to yell at you. I get animated, but I'm being blunt. If you got issues with WhatNot, that's another conversation. We could talk about that. I have my own issues with certain things about WhatNot, pros and cons, certain people on WhatNot, pros and cons. But for this situation, somebody caused a tussle in line, getting greedy over free Peach Momoko signatures. And everyone comes out with their pitchfork saying, yeah, that's right, WhatNot's ruining comics. YouTubers are ruining comics. So again, I asked the question. Anybody that was an eyewitness, that has facts, that has proof, tell me right now, was anybody that had any connection to WhatNot or even any type of YouTuber the ones that caused the tussle in the Momoko line? And if you can't answer that, then I don't want to hear anybody coming in the comments saying, that's what WhatNot gets, or yeah, these damn YouTubers, because you don't know. It's that simple, people. You can't have a robbery happen in the hood and say, them damn black folks, because it's a black community. No matter how many black men are locked up for, armed robbery or dope possession or whatever, you can't stereotype. That's prejudice. Just because there are issues with WhatNot and WhatNot sellers or YouTubers that you disagree with, here's an isolated incident, and what do? We point fingers. Look, let me have some empathy towards you guys that want to point fingers at WhatNot and YouTubers. And I got facts here, folks. I got facts that I'm going to bring up. Maybe I'm going to play devil's advocate against my own, right now. Maybe you guys that are jumping. Okay, well, Matt, thank you. Look, but WhatNot, I simply asked, what does WhatNot having a presence there have anything to do with the Momoko tussle? Can you answer that question? How do they correlate? So for you to say, well, WhatNot had a big presence there, you're assuming, or it seems that you are assuming a correlation when there is no proof of such, right? That's what I'm getting at. But let me scale it back a little bit. I understand that you guys, if you guys are upset because of certain maybe WhatNot sellers and YouTubers that handle themselves as C2E2, right? And believe me, there's a lot of slimy sellers on WhatNot. There's slimy sellers everywhere. There's slimy sellers on eBay. There's slimy sellers on IG. There's slimy sellers at cons. I get it. So it's almost like they shoot themselves in the foot. And I understand we want to react. And anytime something bad happens, sometimes our reaction is out of good intent, right? And we start pointing fingers and picking up pitchforks because we have good intent, because it is so ugly. But when we point fingers and start blaming people for isolated incidents that we have no proof of, we perpetuate the ugly. And we never solve the real problem. Absolutely, Bronze. Absolutely. Agreed, 100%. When grown men act a child, blaming a platform or influencers rather than the grown men thinking, the grown men themselves, is just as childish. We should expect more from ourselves rather than blaming outside sources. Agreed. But I will say, say there was involvement from somebody that was representing WhatNot. Now, I know as a businessman, especially if you're at a show like that's, and you're sponsored by WhatNot and you're rocking the WhatNot gear, while I agree with your sentiment, Brendan, it is very important, though, that the individual conduct themselves in a manner that represents that business entity, right? And if somebody representing WhatNot is out of line and WhatNot doesn't come to them and say, hey, and put them in check, then we have the right to go to WhatNot and say, look, WhatNot, they're a representation of you and your principles, and I ain't feeling it. But again, on this specific situation, this incident, right? This has nothing to do with WhatNot. This has nothing to do with YouTubers, at least from what we know so far. Right? Journo, you were not there either, and you are depending on accounts you have read and find credible. No, Lee, because I'm not pretending to be there. And Lee, I'm not yelling at you. I'm just, you know me, I get intense. So I just need to preface that. Guys, Lee, no. What did I just say? I don't know. Well, I do have inside sources, and yes, I'm going to share this source. And while it's only one eyewitness, it does bring more credibility to it. But obviously, unless there's like video footage or, it's still one person's take on the situation. So maybe, again, nobody will ever know exactly the full picture. But Lee, I'm not sitting here saying that I know anything. What I do know is that there is no evidence for us to point the finger at anybody or any entity whatsoever. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying, no, it wasn't WhatNot. It was eBay. It was eBay sellers. All I'm saying is that it was greedy people, period. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if there were some vendors that were taking advantage. I mean, I can assume that there could have been, right? I mean, you're at a con, and there is word that there were people that had the exhibitor badges that were holding piles of comics. So I don't know. I can also assume that anybody going and getting 10 signatures of any artist in the back of their head, they're thinking about trying to flip at least one of those books. A majority of them. And I'll go survey and poll people and come back to back up my statement. But at the end of the day, nobody can sit here and point a finger at anybody, because unless you were there and you know firsthand. We don't know if anybody involved had any connection to WhatNot. We don't know if anybody involved had any connection to a YouTuber, or were YouTubers, or were influencers, or whatever box people want to put people in. We don't know that. We have to look at the facts as they stand. And right now, the facts are very minimal. Comics with Bueller, what's going on? Thank you for hanging out. Thank you, Josh. Thank you. Ignorance, and this is, folks, again, like, guys, let me tell you all that are watching right now, I have been having a lot of issues with WhatNot, and not like slimy sellers. I see that all the time on every platform. I'm having a lot of issues with WhatNot. If I don't get it resolved by Friday, my Friday Night Live show, I'm going to be talking my firsthand account about why I might be leaving WhatNot. And it's not why other people have talked about leaving WhatNot in the past. So again, I get it. I understand that there's been some controversy. There are people out there that use the platform, and I understand that there's always going to be YouTubers that you don't like or you disagree with, and maybe you have negative feelings towards some. I get it. Okay, I get that, but I'm trying to help you guys. All of you that jumped in my comments on that video talking about, oh, damn, WhatNot and YouTubers and influencers. I'm trying to help you guys. I want you to take your frustration and your anger and direct it into a productive action instead of a counterproductive reaction. And it goes to what Josh is saying right here. Ignorance and greed are the problem, not the platform. Again, if platforms allow it with some, like then we get into this gray water where you got to start holding entities accountable, right? But for this situation, we're not there. For the Momoko situation, we are not there. As we know it, all this is holding certain individuals accountable for their own actions when it comes to greed and ignorance. 100%. And it's a thorn in the side of this hobby right now. It is. Dan, what's going on, Dan? X11. So again, I'm trying to be as middle of the road in terms of I'm not pushing against you guys that are pushing back already and frustrated, but you water down the argument when you start hearsay. You water down the argument and the pushback when you blame people and organizations and entities without the facts and the evidence available to you. People are crazy in New York. Willard, you're right. Maybe it's just New York is just, they're crazy. I know I got some New York folks in here. It's not right for anybody to take advantage of this situation, whether you're a regular collector or exhibitor. In the future, I'm sure this would be better monitored. Thank you, Comment News Network. Right. It doesn't matter who you are. That's what I was saying. I got something, I'm on this note, on this comment, I'm going to share something with you guys. A good member, amazing member of this community, Morpheus. If you guys aren't following Morpheus Multiverse on Instagram, please go do so. This guy is just an amazing human being, always, looking out for the community, spreading that positivity. He shared this with me, and I'm going to read it to you guys right now. Actually, let me get some water. Fighting through this migraine, but I'm here with you guys. Me being all hyphy isn't helping, but you guys know me. I can't help it. And I appreciate you guys, all the people, Matt, again, Lee, those that were bringing up those questions, and I'm in my emotion, and I'm not like yelling at you guys. I'm passionate, I'm animated, and this is just me expressing myself. And I don't want you guys to take my intent out of context. I challenge the different perspectives and everything here, and I want us all to come to this common ground to where we can push the conversation forward, right? But let's read what Morpheus had to say about this, okay? And it goes to Comment News Network here because he says, I'm sure this will be better monitored. That matters as well. We're going to talk a little bit more about that as well because we kind of open the door for these things to happen sometimes, right? But let's read Morpheus's comment. I was in that line when it happened. So Lee, here we go. This is, again, I know it's just one person, so we can't take it as like absolute fact, but I trust Morpheus. I trust his perspective. I do want to hear more from more people as maybe the week goes by. I was there in that line, he says. So many details are skewed. If you want a firsthand account of what happened, hit me up. I did hit him up, by the way. I will tell you this. None of it. Here we go. Everyone that's here right now, everyone that was in my comment section, bashing WhatNot and YouTubers and influencers. Here we go. You guys ready for this? Remember, he's in the line. First-hand account of what happened. Facts are getting skewed. I will tell you this. None of it was from the exhibitor badges or retailers. Ha, Gwen, what's going on? I'm going to repeat that. He states, none of it was from the exhibitor badges or retailers, folks. Right there. He goes on to say, we were all immediately placed at the back of the line away from the table. He's talking about the people with the badges, the exhibitors or the vendors, right? That's what he's saying. It was a general attended individual who had purchased a VIP badge that was demanding he be in front of the line. It escalated from there And this all happened on Sunday morning. The signing at Midtown was Monday. Okay, yeah. Folks, again, Comic Journey, what's going on? Again, this is one individual. I hope there's more context added to this from other people that were there. But he just made a statement right there. Now, it sounds like there were definitely more people involved. But it sounds like this one individual was the icing on the cake and was the one that essentially started the tussle. A regular individual that bought a VIP pass. So what was I saying earlier? You don't got to be a WhatNot seller, a YouTuber, an influencer, a vendor, an exhibitor to think that I'm going to go to a con and get some free signatures and get 10 books so I can flip. Now, we don't even know if this individual wanted to flip his books. Maybe he was just an a-hole. We don't know. But the bottom line is how we conduct ourselves, right? We have to conduct ourselves as an adult. We have to not be entitled. This individual sounds like an extremely entitled individual. But this absolutely puts things in perspective. So, again, this is one individual. William Peach yourself said it was influencer on Thursday and again on Saturday. William, where's her statement? Is there a link? Where can I find her statement? Let me know. Let me know. But again, the moral of the story, it doesn't matter. And again, what is an influencer? What is an influencer? How do we define what is an influencer? Somebody that sells comics, somebody that just has a YouTube channel. Where do we draw that line? Okay, so they had first entry, but does that mean if there's already a line formed that they get special treatment to jump the line? Or does it mean that you get early entry where you could get in line early for some things, right? I don't know. Let me know. I agree, Willard. I agree. Yeah, the VIP pass gets into people's heads. I could see that. Montgomery. So what about everything that preceded that? This did not start at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. It was boiling. Okay, Montgomery, were you there? What are you alluding to? What are you trying to say here? Because I don't understand. Were you trying to say that there was issues before that? Before this one individual, or this what are you trying to say? Biscuit King, I don't even understand this. The context of this comment. Influencers can't get much more entitled. What do you mean? First off, what's an influencer? Who in your book, how do you define an influencer, and what does that mean that you can't get more entitled than that? I'm honestly asking these questions. Listen to multiple videos describing what is perceived as the problem, but much less time has been spent on constructive solutions. Mark, I like that. Again, yeah, everyone wants to yell and scream, but what is a constructive solution? constructive feedback. How do we move the needle forward, people? That's what I'm here for. People are animals. Gwen, yeah. Cons. I mean, look, man, these cons have been crazy. It's just crazy. Maybe WhatNot didn't do anything wrong, but if WhatNot was a person, they would definitely have greasy hair and be okay. That's funny. I'm chuckling at it, but that's not true. There are plenty of honest, decent sellers, good people that sell on WhatNot. You know, I just again, greedy, greasy people are everywhere. They're everywhere. I did a video a couple years back saying don't get conned at a con. They're everywhere. Okay, Joseph, you don't believe what this individual is saying that was there? Now, again, I'm not saying that he's completely right and believe it, but you got to at least take it into consideration. I don't believe that. Just saying. Who cares what he has to say? Okay, so what is your alternative? Again, honest question. What's your alternative? Are you going to ignore somebody who was there completely and just keep your pitchfork up and blame YouTubers, WhatNot, and influencers, whatever that means? Honest question. Yep. Agree 100%. Throwing blame or accusations at anyone or anything for being involved before that information comes to light is counterproductive, period. And then you become the ugly. Then you become the ugly. Lee, I agree with you that it's funny that these situations happen and it tends to get worse. But you know what? Let me ask you this. Is what I'm doing here tonight making it worse? Is this making it worse? You know what makes it worse? And this is why I did what I did with the C2E2. What makes it worse is before any facts come out, people jump onto social media and they make memes and they personally attack people. They literally, sexually harass them. They harass their livelihood. They mock them. So to people that are decent human beings that had nothing to do with anything. And then it bears so much stress on them that 2 days later, they're in the hospital with health issues. That's what makes these things worse. But those same people are going to be the ones that say, oh, I'm standing up for the community. No, you're being the ugly in which you think you are calling out. You aren't making anything better. You're adding fuel to the fire. Ignorance matched with ignorance doesn't create change. It creates divide and devolution. We don't go anywhere forward. We move backwards. So I'm here to be, I'm not neutral. This isn't being neutral or even playing devil's advocate. It's being logical and rational. Because there's always two sides of the story. There's always two sides of a coin. And in order for that coin to have value, it needs to have both sides. That's a metaphor. You can't scrape one side. If you want heads and you try to scrape the tails off that coin, the coin is the coin with both sides of it. And that's what gives it value. What gives conversations and solutions value is seeing both sides and coming to a solution and coming to an understanding, bringing the facts to the table. I will be happy to call out any institution in this industry for either unethical practices, wrongdoing, or things that I think that they can improve on to help the community. I do it all the time. I do it all the time. But I'll also defend institutions when I think they're doing things right, and community members are the ones being unethical and toxic, etc., etc. It goes both ways, and the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Yeah, me too, Josh. I hear you. Absolutely. I'm sorry. It's it's a derogatory word now that we're using to, you know, it's a prejudicial term now. I'm not going to compare it to some real serious prejudicial terms because obviously it's not on that level, but that's what it is. It's a stereotype. And anybody that they want to throw in that, anybody wants to throw in that box, they're going to use that term. And like I said, I don't necessarily fault them all at all times, but we got to find a better way of communicating. Okay, so again, Montgomery, I'm just trying to understand what you're saying. The line was ridiculous. So what does that mean to you? Is that bad? What are you implying here? I'm really trying to pull this out of you so I want to hear your perspective. You're saying it was a mess. You're acting like there was something just inherently bad about it from the get. What are you implying? A long line doesn't imply something negative. I'm not understanding. There's a disconnect here, and I'm just trying to understand. Jail Rock, yeah, man. Just watch my video I dropped today. Catch the beginning of this on the replay. We're talking about the Momoko issue at New York Comic Con and addressing that we don't have any facts to who was involved in the scuffle, and already we're pointing fingers. Already we're pointing fingers. And it doesn't solve anything. According to Peach, she did 62 remarks on the first day. She posted she was mentally tired about it. The only thing Peach could have done was raise her prices. Cut SIGs down. She should have, like I said in my video, 3 max, and you can't get back in line. Exactly, Dan. All of you guys talking in the comments right now can influence anybody else that's reading your comments. We influence each other every day. Yeah, Lee, and this is what's going to have to happen. This is what is going to have to happen. The cons need to get a lot more stricter. Whoever is putting on these cons, they need to get a lot more stricter. You're right, Lee. And you know, I'm not victim blaming, but we have to not allow that door to even be pushed open by greedy people, right? We can't even allow, they'll try. No matter what rules you set in place, they will keep trying. Greedy people, ignorant people, self-serving people will always try to swindle themselves in. But we got to make it harder for them, right? I can honestly say WhatNot didn't do anything wrong at this con. I was there. Comic Journey, thank you for your personal take. That mountain air. I agree. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. I never said it does. It did. Ever. On the contrary, I'm saying we don't have facts. We need to be listening to everyone that was there, right? And once we get more and more, it'll be easier to at least pick apart the stuff that lines up, right? And that's what we need to keep focusing on. Keep letting it come out. Keep lining up what seems to be lined up as fact. And we do the best that we can with it. Thank you, Lee. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I do appreciate that. See what Mark has to say here. If protection of the integrity of the process is the objective, then we need to define the process. What are we seeking? Then we work out the algorithms to protect it. Mark, what are you are you specifically, you're talking about algorithms, so I don't know exactly what you're speaking to, but I do believe in like the process of anything. And that's what I was just saying about the cons. People running the cons, they do need to tighten up the process for one. Absolutely. I like that, Lee. One side, the other side, and what actually happened. Yeah. And X11, I said that in my video today. It's like, you know, our greed, again, it doesn't matter if you're a seller, a flipper, a collector, whatever you want to label yourself. Greedy people are greedy people, and they're everywhere. And this is going to push people away from us having nice things, right? 100%. Joseph says they should do away with VIP. I mean, shoot. Maybe VIP needs to be on a temporary detention, put aside, see if it changes anything. Biscuit said, my friend was in line and said it was 2 exhibitors. I don't see him online to come discuss it. From my experience, exhibitors usually start problems, but so do salty fans. Thank you, Biscuit. Thank you. But so do salty fans. Well, you know, I will say this. You say this, seeing the exhibitors. Don't look, salty fans are salty fans. Don't, it's not, it does. Oh, well, they did it first. You know, I'm on, you know, I've coached youth sports. I'm a teacher in the classroom. I'm also a sports director at the school. He started it. It doesn't matter. Oh, I saw him doing it. Like I said, greedy people are greedy people. But I'm glad you're at least seeing that this can happen from all sides. It could be anybody that could perpetuate this toxicity and this greed. Buddy, I will say this, buddy. Everyone says like, oh, it's the 90s all over again. And the 90s will, at least for the as the state of the industry is right now, the 90s will never happen again. Never. And there's one reason why. Because comic books are no longer mass produced. But to your point, buddy, there is a similarity with the 90s in terms of how I think people really are the FOMO. The FOMO is out of control. And I've always been the optimist. I've always been the, you know, seeing the positive in everything. Getting FOMO sometimes in life and anything isn't always, you know, horribly negative. It is out of control. It's becoming a disease. It's becoming a sickness. And the desire, like, and again, I'm all about everyone collect what you love. But I have to question this. Like the whole C2E2 thing. Everyone was blaming the influencers, but even the little individuals that go to get like 2 or 3 copies of that book, how many of them do you think are keeping those books? I know some are, but that's what I'm saying, man. You don't have to be this YouTuber, influencer, whatnot, seller, flipper to be in the hobby right now and say, oh, exclusive variants, I'm going to cop me a couple and flip one. And I'm not saying that's bad. It's not. But it's bad when it undermines, when you undermine the process, like we was just talking about the process, like at C2E2, sneaking around saying, hey, yeah, let me get those before you, deal with the normies or something, or even the greed of the retailer saying, oh yeah, I'll sell you 100, but when I run out, I'm going to upcharge anybody else that stood in line and wanted them. It's okay to want to make money off the hobby. It's comic books, folks. I mean, they already have a cover price. They're a product that needs to sell. And they've been a collectible good for decades. And that's okay. But when you do allow greed, and it's like the release of the new Jordans when they come out and people get shot or trampled over. Are you goddamn kidding me? Really? Over a damn pair of shoes. Same mentality. Same mentality. Greed, entitlement, and we don't value human life. It's disgusting. All right, let's read some more comments here. What you guys saying? I think there's some truth in this. RR, definitely. What? Oh, man. Well, Montgomery, you're opening up a can of worms here. I guess it depends what you're talking about, because if we're talking about science and like what's relative, truth isn't just truth, right? If we talk about morals and dive into Kantian, philosophy, truth isn't just truth, right? I think what you mean, though, is like what happened is what happened, and that's the truth. And then everyone's take is one might be close to that, but you're right. But the bottom line here, we can't argue for the truth unless there was cameras and we see everything that happened. But even seeing the cameras, like, did the camera start at one point? Did it not catch something off camera? Nobody will ever know the entire truth. Even people that were there might have perceived it one way and maybe missed one part of it. Nobody's sitting here trying to say the whole truth and nothing but the truth. But we do need facts. And we need to come to our own conclusions based on as much fact as we can. And we don't do that by pointing fingers and creating hearsay and even more drama. We don't. Why don't these vendors, influencers, whoever, do it in a private signing? I mean, they could partner. Like, look, if I was to ever produce my own comic book and I wanted to hire Peach to do the cover, I may contract something with her where I have her sign 100 books. And then I would sell those like either on WhatNot or maybe if I had a website, whatever. And either we work out an agreement where I pay her for her artwork and I pay her for the 100 signatures, whatever amount we agreed to. Or if I sell them, there's a flat rate for her services. She signs 100. And then if I sell those 100, we have an agreement that she gets X amount of percentage. Those things can happen. Percentage of those sales of those 100 books, that is. businesses and entities can absolutely negotiate stuff like that. Okay, Montgomery says, I saw folks drop short boxes in front of Peach. And while she's signing and marking away, they streamed and sold right next to her. So, Montgomery, I don't think you ever stated in the comments that you were there. Maybe you did, but thank you for providing the fact that you were there, and this is your take. So, I would like to ask you, do you know who these people were? Or if these streams are like available on YouTube, or maybe they were streaming on WhatNot. I don't know. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you don't know all those details. So that's hey, yeah, that sounds like there was according to this. Then, if Montgomery's comment right here is factual, at least to what he perceived, right? I mean, maybe he didn't know what they were streaming or what they were doing or how, but he's seeing what he's seeing, and this is what it looks like, and it looks kind of like, okay, they're taking advantage. So according to this, it sounds like we got somebody saying there was one incident, and this guy wasn't even an exhibitor. He was a normal guy. Then we got Montgomery here saying there were people setting up short boxes, and so it all boils down to the same thing, though. Greed, acting unethical, and then waiting for all of these facts to come to the table before we start pointing fingers. I think, and let me make this perfectly clear, folks. When I do videos like these, because I got so much crap from my C2E2 argument, I feel like people think that I'm just blindly defending influencers. Again, whatever that means. I'm blindly defending YouTubers or whatnot, when I am absolutely not. I'm defending, I wouldn't say like the facts. I mean, we need the facts, but I'm defending a proper way of going about finding a solution. That's what I'm defending. I'm simply against being counterproductive. I want the same thing most of you guys. Some of you may be faking the funk and you just want clout on Instagram and you think it's cool because you make memes and drop clown emojis, you know, and you get followers doing that and you think it's cool. And you don't even care about the community. You just know that there's the pitchfork crowd out there, and hey, grabbing that pitchfork. It's like, you know, getting jumped into the gang or something like. But I think the majority of us do want the same thing. I just want to hold everybody to a higher standard of how we come to those solutions. And it's really that simple. Doctor, yeah, I mean, the problem would stop if people stop giving people money. I mean, that's a whole other deep dive conversation we can get into. This is what I'm talking about. Holy Harlot. Look, first off, I want to say, Holy Harlot, I don't know how long you've been a subscriber of my channel, but like, you've been watching the videos and commenting, and I've been seeing all your comments. I appreciate you greatly. I do. If you are newer to the channel and you don't know, I speak my mind and I challenge my viewers. So please don't take this the wrong way, but I'm going to challenge you right now. Okay? Holy Harlot. Again, I got nothing but love for you. It's all respect. And I love different points of opinions. I do. We all can learn from different perspectives, but holy harlot, I'm kind of shaking my head at this comment, and I'm going to read it. It's not hard to figure out who caused the Momoko episode. It's the usual group of pump and dumpers. Okay. For those that have been here for the last hour, we don't have really any facts. Saying pump and dumpers as well, in my humble opinion, it doesn't paint a proper solution to how we solve things. We're generalizing. Holy harlot, I think we're coming from the same place. It's that greed, right? It's the greed. We know that people are trying to take advantage of this situation and get multiple copies so they can go flip. And I think that's what you're saying. And I agree with you. But your wording, it's very antagonistic, and it assumes, right? And it's going to, regardless of your intent or not, you're going to trigger the pitchfork crowd. So I don't say this to minimize your feelings or your points of views. I really think that we're coming from the same place, but I would suggest restructuring your argument. Like, first off, add a little more context to what you're trying to say to add color to it. Paint the picture better so we don't just take this like, the usual group of pump and dumpers. That tagline right there is really sensationalistic. It sensationalizes the issue. And then it allows people to start attacking. Oh, well, there was an issue with a con. Comic Tom must have something to do with it. WhatNot must have something to do with it. And we create this cycle and start pointing fingers and placing blame. So I hope you hear what I'm saying. I would love to hear if you had any more to add. Yeah, Gwen. It's just a turnoff. That's why I love comics, but I have never felt a part of the community to the drama. Yep. It's there, and unfortunately it's everywhere in life. All right, let's get to I'm a little behind on the comments. I'm trying to catch up. You guys are adding so much really good conversation and points of views and everything to this today. And I really appreciate that from you guys. It makes the show much better. I love Peach, and that she went through an ordeal really bothers me. I hear you. You're right. We need systems in place to prevent this from the future. Yeah, I hear you there, Montgomery. Absolutely. We gotta do our own due diligence on every level. Rules and engagements need to be clear and upheld. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, Rob, I agree. And that's why, and again, like I said, not to you give an inch, they take a mile, right? Well, in this case, they only should have gave him a centimeter. 3 books tops, man. And don't get back in line. Like, I'll keep saying that. 3 books tops, you're done. That too, Rob. Artists need to take a stand. I appreciate Peach for speaking up. Absolutely. Como. What a year, right? What a year. And I think it's ironic that I started out this year saying, I'm always an optimist, but I want to do more on my part to be an educator. Be an educator this year on keeping it healthy, right? And I've even strayed away from doing as many, like spec and investment videos this year because of it. I've lost a crap ton of subscribers because of speaking my mind on this stuff. Oh, well, it is what it is. I don't sell my soul. Trying to catch up on these. Why do we need facts? Come on, Holy Harlot. Come on. Really? Now that's just come on. I hope you're being just kind of cynical and not serious. I really do. Yeah, hey, I hope so, Lee. I hope we all agree on this. The incident that happened was horrible, and we need to do things to prevent it in the future. Gwen, hey man, calling it how it is. Oh man. I do agree with this. I agree with this. I love autographs on my baseballs. I am not a fan of signed comics. Oh, Bueller, thank you for. Yep, this is how behind I am. We were talking about this like 10 minutes ago. Man, Morpheus. Guys, I'm actually so hold on. Morpheus is here. Thank you, Morpheus, for popping in. And dude, Ryan, what's going on? Terry's here. Let's see. I am so behind on the comments, folks. X11 just said Morph's in the house. So, okay, here's the thing, guys. I'm going to be completely honest here. I just want to get at least to the front of these comments. Oh, man, you guys are just working the chat. I appreciate you all. Nuggin wants me to start my own con. People are far too quick to jump to conclusions and make assumptions based on a very limited amount of facts. We got to do better. Thank you, 360. That's in all aspects of life. Absolutely 100%. 100%. Guys, okay, here's the thing. I offered for Morpheus to come on today. And I even saw a Comic Journey saying, Journo, let me come in. I was there, Comic Journey. I would love to bring you on. I am hurting right now, guys. I suffer from migraines. And I try to push through this. I've been going for over an hour. My migraine is killing me. It's really bad. I am gonna have to wrap this up. And I feel bad because I know Morph is here right now. And I wanted so bad to bring him in. But this is what I want to do. In Morpheus, if you're still here, this is what I want to do, guys. Bronze Age Nerd is, I do believe it's tomorrow. He was in the chat and he let us know. He's having a live stream tomorrow with somebody that was there. I recommend everyone go watch that, okay? today's Wednesday. That's Thursday. How about this? For my Friday Night Live show, I'm not going to do what I said earlier in the show. Let's make my Friday Night Live show a continuation of this. And I'm going to reach out to Morpheus again and see if he might be available to hop on for a little bit Friday night. I would love to have him on for sure. So let's do that. All right. So guys, stay tuned. I will I'll get the link up, created. I might not do it tomorrow, but obviously it'll be up Friday, at least a few hours before the show. For Friday Night Lives, I usually go anywhere between like 4 and 6:30 when I start. Fluctuates just depending on how busy I am. So just look out for that if we want to continue this conversation. Because I think what will help too is by Friday, 2 more days, we'll have a lot more come to the surface, especially with Bronze's show tomorrow. All right. So for anybody that hasn't watched my video yet, you can still go watch that, get a little context. Go watch Bronze's show. And hopefully I will see all of you guys on Friday for Friday Night Live. We're going to keep this conversation going. I apologize that I got to cut it early, guys, but I do. I'm hurting. So thank you all so much. An amazing chat tonight. Thank you for all those that, like Montgomery, getting into that back and forth and really trying to flesh out perspective. Even Holy Harlot, thank you for just bringing it in. If you are subscribed to the channel, guys, I really would appreciate it if you do. I will hopefully see you all on Friday. Take care, guys. Be well. Be safe.